Alright, what's up? Welcome to Garage Topics. Buddy Nathan's here in good old Bowling Green, Kentucky.
I'm back, just made the road trip.
Getting lit. So he had the Fiesta that you saw in a couple of the other videos before. Sad to report the Fiesta's gone, but if you can read and know what English is, he's got a new vehicle.
So this is my 2016 Ford Mustang GT California Special. I bought this a couple months ago with 1,600 miles. It is a manual, of course, and I am loving rear-wheel drive. Just drove it here from Virginia, about a 9-hour drive, and it was amazing on the highway.
We've got a full garage today. Buddy Bennett's here, polishing the old Z, getting crazy, getting super fresh. So crazy. We'll come back to that later. We've got the Z in here, and got the old Mustang out here. And what the heck are we doing today?
Today we are putting on Holley's Intech called the Intech. It is a direct replacement, no tune required intake that should add a little bit of horsepower, about 23 if I'm not mistaken.
We got the Indy 500 on today, pretty dope. What's in this box?
So in this box we have a two-piece, two main piece with the stock box that will go right in here, and the piping that just fits right into it. Additionally, we have some couplings, some free stickers, swag, and the air filter in this box.
Cool deal. Here are the parts you're going to need. You're going to need a flathead, you're going to need a Phillips head, you're going to need a 13mm wrench. You can use a socket as well. This trim removal piece isn't necessary, but it made life 1,000 times easier. Pick, same thing, don't need this, but this pick made removing some of the clips really easy. I need a Torx bit. This is a something. I don't know what number this is. I'll get it to you in a second, probably in the comments. You need a 10mm, you need an 8mm and 7mm. That's just to remove the clamps. You can use the flathead to remove the clamps as well. Pliers to remove some of the other clamps as well. And I use this adjustable one to put some of the fittings into the intake, but not a lot of tools. What are you getting?
Just dropped everything. We've got the instructions here with a parts list just to make sure we have all the parts we need to get started.
Dope sauce.
Tube. Housing. I'm not going to read them all. So far we've removed the engine cover and disconnected the battery, but the next thing we'll be doing is removing these hoses. After that we'll be loosening all of the bolts that hold everything in place.
It's pretty straightforward under here. Yeah. What's got to come off because it's the air box going to the intake.
So we've removed the 3 hoses connecting to the stock parts and the hose clamp here onto the throttle body. And that all just popped off. There's little clips here that rotate out. We just pull them up like that with some little pick here. This one just had just simple pliers. Close that off.
And so now, what else is left to get this stock stuff off?
So now we'll need to remove the bolts from the air box, as well as this sensor here. There's 2 little screws for that. Right now we're removing the Maf Sensor. They're Torx bit screws, so make sure you have those ahead of time. Little star-shaped doodads.
This came out pretty easy. There was one bolt right here that held it in, and then I unclipped a couple clips.
Unclipping the clips, the best tool for that was this trim removal V-shaped tool.
Harbor Freight, baby.
Just get right on here and pry that off, and this one off.
Yeah, that made it super easy.
So this screw is going to be impossible to get to if you don't take the whole top off, and there's just a few clips on here, and here.
Yeah, because that blocks it. So
this will
just
get
unclip the top
totally in the way.
Give you some access to get it off.
With that removed, it becomes easy to access. This is where the intake was.
Boom! A lot of room down here for activities.
Alright, let's put the new one in.
Everything's out now. First step to getting the intake in is to remove a clip here.
We're removing this terminated plug.
My hand's in the way. Move that hand for a second, man. Oh yeah, that bad boy. It's got one of those push pin things. So you just plug that, get that out of the plug there, and we're going to relocate it.
Okay, so we remove this big clip here from this location to this location, up and under.
Yep.
The one that was here, we're relocating to this clamp here.
And so what needs to happen now is you need to have a lot of play right here so that the Maf Sensor can go back in. Oh! You just need a lot of play here. So this is probably the only hard part to make sure you get correct. that you unclip them all, slide everything forward, use the OEM holes, and then you'll be good to go. Okay, so we took those 3 out. We put the big one underneath right there, and then when we took the other ones out, we just put back into where they came from. You need to take all of them out to get enough leeway to finagle it, but just push them back in so it's all clipped up nicely in there.
That one goes right back. This one's goes right back. The wires snake around to here.
And plastic one right there. And the wiring for the Maf Sensor, whatever it's called, is good to go now.
So what we're going to do now is install the Intech air filter into the box.
And this is the big piece of this kit. It uses a lot less clamps, and so part of the filter is part of the clamping between the 2 pieces that go in the engine.
You have this seal in here that's going to go into this groove.
Yep.
What you're going to do is push down until it completely bottoms out. And that's just it. It's good. Do not oil.
Do not oil this one, it's dry filter. So that's pressed in here, and the other piece, which we'll show in a second, is going to press into this and make a really tight, snug seal. It's actually really easy.
Okay, so they have all these fittings included in this bag here, and they just thread right on to these, just like this. All your stock hoses will just slide onto those. We'll remove this gasket from the OEM airbox.
Where they come from? Right here.
Right here?
Yep.
Thread that right out.
And that's going to go into the Intech.
Yep. Right on in.
That was real easy.
Yeah, that was extremely easy.
So now
just slides right in. So now we're going to put the whole box, if I don't drop it, by sliding the snorkel part in first. Just kind of swooping it on in there.
I believe in you. Where are we lining up down there?
The snorkel.
Oh.
Big rectangular.
Guess you'll know when it lines up to this hole properly, right?
And it is.
Yeah, so it's
lined right up.
It's right up in that hole. Of course you can't see. There you go. It's right in there. And so that's how you know it's good to go.
So it sits, one thing to notice, it kind of sits right in line with this bar here. It won't be weird and square and like perfectly 90 degrees. It's going to be right along the same shape as this brace here.
Cool. All right.
One thing that's really nicely designed about this intake is that they even had a cutout that our wrench fit right over that.
Well designed.
Very.
All right, clamp the clamps.
We got a clamp on first. This one's gonna go right over. Just gonna slide that over the throttle body if I can see what I'm doing. It just pushes and slides on. So using the supplied screws, these new Phillips head screws, we're gonna put the Maf sensor back in.
And it's all tucked in here, and we just fed the existing line right through here. It looks pretty OEM.
So with the box in place and the Maf sensor installed, we have our coupling on already on the throttle body. We're gonna line that up, slide it in. We'll tighten this down using an 8mm. All right, and then this just slides right in. So you can use a little soap and water to help lubricate this, which we might go get because it's a little stiff as it is. Nope, never mind, we're good. You just push that right down in.
It's 90 plus degrees today, so that might have helped it be a little bit more flexible.
It is blazing hot out here.
So that pressed right in there, and that's all there is to it. No clamps, no funky looking stuff. Looks pretty OEM. It's really good. We thought we had it in. This is what you need it to look like when it's fully seated. It won't move around at all once it's fully seated in. It's really rigid and pretty structural AF.
Oh yeah.
All right, we missed a step, but this is how it goes.
This is
real.
fun.
That grommet
is
pushed in down here. Might need a little force, but it's going to be pushed in right down there from the OEM box.
So we took that rubber gasket and put it in from the bottom. That's the same way we pulled it out.
Yeah, so we forgot, we did it too late. We had it all installed basically, and we had enough room to pry it up before we finally put the bolt in. And we used a screwdriver. Pro tip, get a screwdriver from the backside and push up. Oops, hit the microphone. Just get a screwdriver, push up, and got in there pretty good. It's all in now. I need to put the stock cover back on, but it looks really good. It looks like it was meant to be there for sure. It's pretty easy install, right?
Yeah, not bad. One of the easiest ones I've done.
Dope. Well, I lost the footage of the final wrap-up of that video, but fear not, there's a video coming up right here right soon about the final impressions of that intake and the review of the car in general. So be sure to like, comment, subscribe, all the YouTube stuff. I'm always open to taking feedback, so let me know in the comments what you think about this video, what you think about the car, what kind of videos you want me to make going forward. I'm all ears. Thanks a lot for watching. Be sure that your dog doesn't lick a cold air intake because it might get messy. Peace out. Here it is.
Foaming body wash.
Foaming body wash, good to go.
Official sponsor.
Yep. And then here's the Intech stuff. I'm gonna go back in. It looks really OEM plus. It's pretty cool.